Hello my dear kids, how are you? I hope all of you are fine and safe by the grace of God. Today we are going to learn about a new topic.
Before starting our class, we can just revise our last day's topics. In our last class,
We studied about main principles of Ashoka's Dhamma and the measures taken to spread Dhamma, Ashoka's different welfare projects, the society, and about the three important Mauryan rulers. Today, we are going to learn about the Mauryan administration and main sources of the Mauryan period. Chandragupta Maurya was an absolute monarch. That means all powers was vested upon his hand. He was the all-in-all of the administrative matters. He was the final decision taken about all important matters of his administration. Okay, that's the term meaning absolute monarch. Ruler of an empire, that person was known as an emperor. Okay, and he was also a monarch. That means he asked the suggestion or advice of others, but the final decision was taken by himself. That kind of the ruler was known as a monarch, absolute monarch. Is it clear for you? Yeah. Then he was the commander-in-chief of the army. He gave orders to the army and he was the final court of appeal. In any case, final judgment taken by whom? By the emperor. That kind of the system existed in the Mauryan administrative system. That means mainly 3 points you should learn. First one, he was an absolute monarch. He was the commander-in-chief of the army and the final court of appeal. Okay. The next point, the hierarchy of the Mauryan administration, the order of the Mauryan administration. To get there, the Mauryan Empire divided into mainly 4 provinces, and each provinces again divided into districts, and every district again divided into number of villages. So once more, empire divided into mainly 4 provinces except the Padaliputra. And again each province is divided into districts and districts again divided into villages. The ruler of the empire, he was known as emperor. That means the Mauryan emperor. And next provincial administration was controlled by the royal prince. Okay, he was the son of the emperor. Especially the next heir apparent of the throne, that person was appointed as the governor of each province. Okay, the next one, provincial administration controlled by prince and districts were controlled by one of the officer. His name was Pradeshika. Who controlled the district's administration? Pradeshika. And village administration controlled by village headman. Okay, it was the hierarchy of the Mauryan administration. So empire, it divided into number of 4 provinces. And again it divided into districts and it again divided into villages. And village was the smallest unit of administration. Okay, a number of families together form one village. Is it clear for you? Yeah. Next, Mauryan king appointed a number of inspectors to send each and every province to check on the administration. Okay. And those officers were transferred from there to other area in every 5 years. Inspectors were appointed in every provinces to check the administration is going on smooth. Or is there any problem there? To find out that one, he appointed many officers. Then the king had the ultimate power. I think you understood it well. He was assisted by a council of ministers. He formed one council of ministers. That council of ministers was known as Mantri Parishad. Was known as the Mantri Parishad. A group of council of ministers were appointed. That group of council of ministers were together known as Mantri Parishad. And many civil servants also there, or who assisted the administration. For that purpose, he appointed many civil servants like mayor, chief collector, treasurer, etc. Number of other important officers also was there. The empire was divided into 4 provinces. Each was under the charge of a prince. The prince represented by the king and he was assisted by several officers. The next provinces were further divided into districts and the head of the districts was known as Pradeshika, who was assisted by local officials. The head could be collected tax. What was the main duty of that Pradeshika? To collect the tax, to maintain law and order and control the lands. The Pradeshika had mainly 3 functions which were there. They were to collect the tax, maintain law and order, that means to keep up the peaceful condition there or peaceful atmosphere to make that one was the duty of the Pradeshika and control the land to protect the land from other foreign or other neighboring kings attack. It was also one of the duty of the Pradeshika. Clear? There were 3 main duty. First one to collect the tax, second one maintain law and order, third one to protect the land. Okay. Then village that made a district. A district means a group of villages. It had a headman. The head of the village was headman, who was chosen by the villagers themselves. Okay, the village headman was elect or choose among the villagers. The villagers helped the officials in maintenance of law and order and tax collection. That means in every village also, the tax collecting officers were appointed by the king and those tax collecting officers were appointed by the king and he was assisted by whom? By the village headman and the villagers. Then next about the administration of Padaliputra, the capital city. The capital city of the empire, Padaliputra, situated on the banks of the river Ganga. Where is Patna? The present name of Padaliputra? Patna. Where is it? It is on the banks of the river Ganga. It was beautified with many lakes and parks. The capital city of the Mauryan Empire was decorated with many parks and lakes. A deep and high wall was built around the city for its defense or from the foreign attack or from the other kingdoms attack. To protect the capital city, constructed a huge wall or fort. And it had 570 watchtowers. How many watchtowers it had? 570 and 64 gates. Palaces and houses were made all of wood and stone. What were the main materials they used to make their houses or palace? Wood and stone. Then how was the administration of the Padaliputra continued? A board of 30 members divided into 6 committees. Total 30 members and it divided into 6 committees. So each committee consisted of 5 members. Set up look after the various branches of administration. Which are the various branches of administration? Look at there. First branch, the registration of the birth and death. One of the department. There was one of the department worked there to know the population of that empire. Then second one, collection of the municipal taxes. Municipal means the taxes of that town. Next one, supervision of trade and commerce. They gave too much priority to trade and commerce. The next is sale of manufactured goods. The next department about industries. And last one, welfare of foreigners. There was one of the department worked there to look after the welfare of the foreigners. A board of 30 members divided into 6 committees and each committee consists of 5 members. They control 6 departments. Which were the 6 departments? Registration of the birth and deaths, collection of municipal taxes, supervision of the trade and commerce, sale of manufactured goods. Manufactured means produced goods. Then industries and welfare of the foreigners. Okay. Next one about the defense. The king was well informed by a number of spies. The king already informed number of spies. Spies means who? Secret police. Many of whom were women. Not only men worked as the spies, women also worked there as the spies. Posted in different parts of the country. They got different types of job. They worked in different types of the jobs and they were appointed directly by the king to know about the officers' administrative efficiency. Okay. The spies kept the king informed about developments. both inside and outside of the country. Okay, then ladies have too much importance in the Mauryan Empire. And the views or the problems of his subject. And the people, what are the difficulties faced by the people, that one also these spies or these agencies inform the ruler. The next one about army. Chandragupta had a huge army. He maintained a large army which consisted of 6 lakhs foot soldiers. How many army members? 6 lakhs foot soldiers of the army. 30,000 cavalry and 9,000 war elephants and 8,000 chariots and a navy. That means he had a huge army under his own control. There was a board of 30 officers who was further divided into departments to look after each wing of the army. Who maintained the army and who looked after the matters of the army? There were 30 officers. In the Mauryan administration, 30 had too much importance. You just understand that one. And those 30 again divided into number of further committees. Okay. For the departments, and each department look after the affairs of the or matters of the each group of members. The departments coordinated between Navy and Army and took care of the transportation and food arrangements for the soldiers. The army and government officials were directly paid and controlled by the king. Who gave salary to the army officers and the soldiers? The king directly gave the salary, not through any other mediators. Okay, so the king can ask anything directly to them, so they never be corrupt. If they will be corrupt, who want to pay the answer to the king? That member directly give answer to the king. There was no more any question. He will be executed by the king. There is no doubts. Okay. So that kind of an efficient military system kept by the Mauryan emperors. The next one about the economy of the Mauryan period. First one about taxation. First one about taxation. The chief source of income was land revenue. Which one was the main source of income? Land revenue, which varied from 1/4 to 1/6 of the production of the land. It depending upon the fertility of the soil. How much production they got, on the basis of that production of the soil, they have to pay taxes. Then the money collected from taxes was spent on different welfare activities of the people. Taxes include, which are the different types of taxes existed? Sales tax, water tax, custom duties, fine for littering public places. Okay, these are the main four sources of the taxes. First one about the most important one, land tax. Second one, sales tax. Then next water tax, custom duties, that means import and export duties, fines for littering public places. Okay, clear? The next one about main occupations. The other occupation also people engage. They got income from mines, forest, trade and craft. People mostly engaged in agriculture. That's why the main land revenue was the land tax. People were mostly engaged in agriculture, trade and industry. Main occupations were three: agriculture, trade, art industry. Then shipbuilding and weapon making were important occupations in the Mauryan Empire because they had given too much importance to a permanent army. A large number of craftsmen and carpenters were employed by the government and the army because they used the stone and wood to make the houses. Okay. And a huge army want to maintain means they had all kinds of the facilities. That's why a number of carpenters and the craftsmen also were under the control of the government as officers. So main occupations, agriculture was the main occupation. Second one, the trade and art industry, shipbuilding and weapon making. The next one, carpenters and the crafts members and carpenters also worked as the other important officers. So occupation means you should write five. First one, agriculture. Second one, trade. Third one, art industry. Fourth one, the craftsmen and carpenters. Okay. Then what? Two more also in your textbook: shipbuilding and weapon making. So any five you should learn. The next point about trade. Trade was also an important source of income. The traders were entitled to pay tax and custom duties. They had to pay special tax to government. Conch shells, diamonds, precious stones, pearls, gold articles, horses, hides, and woolen clothes were some of the goods of trade. Transportation of the goods to different parts of the country was carried through caravans. Then land and sea trade was flourishing. Then both kinds of the trade was existed. Then main centers of the trades were very important question that one. Which were the main centers of the trade during the Maurya period? They were Ujjain, Padaliputra, Takshashila, and Kaushambi. Okay, four main trading centers in Mauryan Empire. They were Ujjain, Padaliputra, Takshashila, and Kaushambi. The empire had connection with Sri Lanka, China, Rome, Egypt for overseas trade. That means they did the trade through the sea route. Okay, they did trade with Sri Lanka, China, Rome, and Egypt for overseas trade means they did the trade through the sea route. Okay, for main trading centers and for foreigners also they had trade contact. Is it clear for you? The next one about art and architecture. Very important question. The craftsmen of the Mauryan period mastered the art of polishing the stone. They mainly did all their craftswork on the stone. In Ashoka's reign, numerous monolithic pillars were carved out. Monolithic means a single stone. They used a single stone and it's shaped in different uh, pictures of animals and different shapes of the animals. Okay, they had decorative tops called capitals. Each and every stone had one decorative capital and one of the head that is known as the capital. It's called capitals. What are called capitals? The decorative head of the monolithic stone used by the Mauryan artist was called capitals. Clear? Bearing beautifully carved animal figures. All capital we can see animal figures. The lion capital, the Indian national emblem. Which is the Indian national emblem? Lion capital, which came from Ashoka's pillar at Saranath. From where did the India government take the lion's capital of India, the national emblem of India? From Saranath monolithic pillar of Ashoka. Okay, from where? It is in Saranath near Varanasi has four parts. When important question is that write a short note about the lion capital of Indian national emblem. Very sure question. Once more, the lion capital of the India. Sorry, the lion capital of the national emblem taken from the Saranath pillar edicts of Ashoka. It locates at Saranath. It is just near to Varanasi. It has four parts, which are there. At the base level, there is a bell-shaped inverted lotus with long petals. It made an inverted lotus. Okay, it stand on an inverted lotus and it had long petals also. Then above it is a drum-shaped pedestal and bearing four chakras or wheels and facing four different directions. Four chakras also on it. Between the wheels are four animals. How many animals are there between the four wheels? Four animals, which are there a horse, a lion, an elephant, and a bull. Okay, which are the four animals we can see on the Saranath pillar or national emblem of India? Horse, a lion, an elephant, a bull. All facing different directions. They are facing four directions. Okay. Above the pedestal, there are four beautifully carved polished lions sitting back to back. On the top side, we can see four lions. When we are observing the picture, we can see only three. Its opposite side also one more. Okay. So four lions are sitting back to back and facing four different directions. Okay, these are the main features of the Saranath pillar capital. Clear? Learn it by heart. The capital represents the Dharma Chakra, the wheel of law. What is the meaning of that wheel? It is the wheel of law. That means Dharma Chakra. The Ashoka Chakra or wheel on its base features in the center of the national flag of India, where we can see the Saranath land capital on the national emblem of India. Ashoka built over 80,000 monasteries. How many Buddhist monasteries he made? He constructed or he built 80,000 Buddhist monasteries and stupas. Children, do you know where did the Buddhist monks live their last years? They lived in the caves or in Buddhist monasteries. Where did the Buddhist monks live? That house is called, or the Buddhist monasteries is called the Viharas. Vihara. Vihara is the special name given to the Buddhist monastery. Then the Buddhist monasteries are decorated with their own art and architecture. Okay, it is the best example of the Mauryan art and architecture. Then Buddhist monks will spend their last days either in caves or in the Buddhist monastery. Who spend their lives in the Buddhist caves? They decorate their caves with then either the carving or sculptures, because when they got the leisure time at that time they decorate their caves. Then those caves are the present days one of the important tourist attracting places. They are all of them are now keeping as the monuments of the present day. The cave shelters carved one from rocks or decorated with the sculptures. Then it's one of the example, the Barabar caves. Barabar is one of the hill's name or name of a hill. Where is it? It is 30 kilometers away from Gaya. Gaya, when we are learning about Buddhism, Gaya is an important place in relation to the Buddha's life. Okay, away 30 kilometers away from Gaya, there is one of the important hill. Its name Barabar Hill. It is full of filled with the Mauryan art and architecture or Buddhist art and architecture. Okay. Then next one, define the term stubas. What is meant by stupa? Stupas are dome-shaped monuments. What is its shape? Dome-shaped monuments exhibiting either Buddhas or the other monks' relics. Relics means any part of their dead body, keeping us important sacred form. Okay, the great stupa at Sanji in Madhya Pradesh. In Madhya Pradesh, one of the important stupa is named Sanji Stupa. Okay, then it is an important example of the expertise of the Mauryan artisans. The Mauryan artisans' best example, which one? The Buddhist stupa of Sanji or Sanji Stupa in Madhya Pradesh. Next one, decline of the Mauryan Empire. What happened to the Mauryan Empire? Look at that. After the death of Ashoka, then he had 4 or 5 successors, but they did not give any more attention to the military force because Ashoka taught them to follow the path of Dhamma. So, in a permanent army, that situation utilized by the neighboring rulers and they conquered part by part of the Mauryan Empire. The Mauryan Empire lasted for another 5 decades. It had already started declining after the death of Ashoka in 232 BC. When did Ashoka die? 232 BC. Ashoka's successors were weak rulers who fought among themselves for the king's position. So, in this difficult situation, the empire further weakened economically. The political situation was collaborated. The same moment, economically, that means the money matters also difficult. Funds grew insufficient. The collected taxes were insufficient to maintain a large army and administer a huge empire. Officers became corrupt and using the fund for their personal use. The tax collecting officers used that amount for their own personal use. Ruling over a small area, Brihadratha was the last Mauryan king. Who was the last Mauryan king? Take your book and put into bracket. Brihadratha was the last Mauryan king. He was killed by Pushyamitra, his commander-in-chief of the army. Brihadratha's commander-in-chief of the army's name Pushyamitra Sunga. Pushyamitra, he killed the last Mauryan ruler, Brihadratha, and he started one of the dynasty. That one was the Sunga dynasty. Okay, that is not mentioned in your textbook, so don't learn it. So you learn it. Who was the last Mauryan ruler? Brihadratha. Okay, who killed Brihadratha? Pushyamitra Sunga. Okay, now next part. Next part about different sources of the Mauryan Empire. The sources mainly we can be divided into 2 sources. They are literary sources and archaeological sources. Which are the main literary sources? Megasthenes Indica Then Chanakya's Arthashastra. Two main literary sources, the Indica of Megasthenes and Arthashastra of Chanakya. Then archaeological sources, they are coins, rock edicts, pillar edicts and monuments. Okay, coins, rock edicts, pillar edicts and monuments. Is it clear for you?
Till here, next day study. And if you have any doubts about, you can ask me personally. I shall clear. I hope you understood the class well. Try to find out all the question answers of textbook bank and write your short note neatly. Okay?
You can see in our next class. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.